see you guys in the dark.
When I was 8 years old, I lived on a very small cul-de-sac on a lake. It was the fall, and it was made up of mostly seasonal houses, so my street and a few others were the only ones with the year-round residents. Due to this, everyone else knew everybody, and you could always identify who was who simply based off the car that they drove. I had just gotten off the bus from school, threw my backpack in the front yard, and started playing some basketball. Our basketball hoop was in the street, so if a car came by or something, you would just have to stop playing so they can get through. My older siblings were off at their clubs, so the only other person home was my mom, evidently by her car in the driveway. I know that she knew I was home because she looked at me in the driveway, smiled, and then turned around to go back to her laptop to work. After playing for a little bit, a car had turned down my street, who I didn't recognize. This was weird for a few reasons. My street was made up of people who didn't like visitors. It was midday, everyone on my street was working, and their plates were from another state. While I recognized it was weird, I thought nothing about it, and I moved so that they can drive around the street. After all, sometimes people like just seeing the lake in the off season. They need somewhere to turn around. My house was the first one on the street, so I figured in a minute I'd see him turn around and leave. And I was right. He came around, and then he stopped. I was standing across the street from my house, and across from the basketball hoop when he rolled down his window. Hey, kid, let me see the ball. I handed him the ball. He tried to shoot it over his car into the basket. Damn it, I missed. Can you go get it and let me try again? I remember thinking that he was cool. He was probably in his early 30s and very charismatic. Despite it being fall, he was dressed like it was summer, like he was going to a frat house for a party. When I went to go retrieve the ball, I bent over and grabbed it from the ground, and I heard a camera. He had obviously taken a picture of me. Even at 8 years old, some alarm bells had started going off, but they were all dismissed because of how the guy had looked. I went back around the car and handed him the ball, except this time he grabbed my wrist. The ball fell, and he was just staring at me, his grip getting tighter and tighter. He then took his hand and started to try to interlock my fingers with his. Just let it happen, kid, he said. Enjoy this, and don't even think about screaming for help, because nobody will hear you. I was confused because my mom would have heard me. She was working from home and could be outside in seconds. I resisted him holding my hand for what felt like minutes when he slowly started to put his foot on the gas. I was forced to kind of side sprint, and he got what he wanted. He was holding my hand. It was obvious that he was filled with excitement and pleasure from holding my hand. His eyes were rolled back. He pressed his legs together. His tongue was out. It was very disturbing. I thought to myself that I can either scream and hopefully live, or stay silent and probably die. So I screamed for my mother. Oh shit, he said. Let go, and then he sped off. The roads were tight where I lived, and I remember he was turning off my road to the main road. He ran over a patch of lawn across the street. He was probably going about 40 miles an hour on this 10-mile-an-hour road. My mom came running out and saw him taking off, trying to get his plate, but she couldn't. I explained to her inside what happened, and then my dad later when he came home from work. My dad was a volunteer EMT on the weekends for the town, so he knew a lot of police and told them what had happened. They said they didn't get any other reports from the town and checked up with surrounding towns to see if they had anything. There was nothing. My mom told my dad that she had seen an unfamiliar car going up and down the road lately, but thought nothing about it. We concluded that he was probably scouting the area, as it was obvious that our house had children in it, and the other houses were not occupied during the midday. He probably thought my mom's car was stationary because it was old, beat up, and hardly used with her working from home. We thought that was it, but something weird had happened that night. While my siblings would have typically been home, it was a Friday night, and they wanted to stay at friends' houses. My parents were quicker to approve this than usual because they thought the less children at home, the less that would be at risk. Since they were older, and this predates the always online era, they would always be wanting to go outside late, and they probably didn't want to listen to the whining that would ensue when my parents said they couldn't. With the police and my parents aware of what the guy looked like, we settled down for the night. Our house is a single story, and I shared a room with my brothers, with my parents' room at the end of the hallway. With my brothers out and me spooked, my parents closed my curtains and set up the TV from the living room in my room so I had something to distract me and to light up my room. It was probably about 1 a.m. I was still watching King of the Hill on Adult Swim. My parents had no idea that Cartoon Network wasn't on all day. I was facing away from my window because the TV was across from it. When from behind I heard a knocking on the window. I froze for a second, thought maybe it was one of my siblings trying to get into the house. They normally would sneak out to smoke and would knock on the window sometimes for me to unlock the front door. I didn't want to take a chance with me being spooked, and with it being the weekend, I really didn't care for waking up my parents because my siblings would get in trouble, and it was better safe than sorry. So I got up, turned on every light that I could on the way to my parents' room, including my parents. It had woken my mom up, but not my dad. She asked me what was wrong. I told her. She was having a hard time adjusting to the light from waking up, so I turned it off. My parents had three windows in their room, one facing the front yard, one facing the side yard, and one facing the backyard. The side yard and backyard had some thick woods behind them that separated us from our next door neighbor. The backyard window also had our basement door going to it. It was slanted up, so when standing up at the top of it, you could see into their window. In the fall and winter, they wouldn't close that curtain because they didn't worry about anyone doing that. They only would do that in the summer and spring because sometimes the seasonal houses, kids, residents would shine flashlights into people's windows to wake them up as pranks. When I was explaining to my mom I had a knock on the window, she got up, she walked towards me. There he was, looking right into the window. She screamed, which had woken up my dad. The man outside yelled out, I just wanted to hold his hand. My dad grabbed the signed bat that he had kept in his room and stormed outside in nothing but his underwear. He was gone. My mom was watching outside the window and said he ran into the woods. These woods weren't known for any big animals, so he was unfortunately safe. We called the police, and after that night, we got some basic home security systems. Everyone on my street knew what happened, and my parents invested into some more indoor stuff for me and my siblings to do, which is how I got my first Xbox. Nothing ever happened again. Nothing like that happened anywhere near us. All I can assume is the man went back to the state that the license plate on his car was from. I'm writing this down on my phone from my town's mall, as this has happened about 10 minutes ago. I'm a 31-year-old female. I was on my way to the grocery store to buy some stuff that I needed for apple cake. At one point, I'm walking. I see a tractor up ahead that's removing snow. It's been warm for the past few days, and most of the snow around had melted to the point where the roads and sidewalks are now visible. Oh well, maybe there's some big pile of snow somewhere or something. The tractor was blocking the sidewalk, so I decided to wait for it to move out of the way. I stand there for about 2 or 3 minutes, waiting and noticing something odd. The tractor isn't picking up any snow. In fact, there is no snow for it to pick up. I get annoyed and I walk around it to continue walking. As soon as I cross the street at an intersection, the tractor starts slowly following me, as in driving into the sidewalk where, once again, there's absolutely no snow, and following me. It moves slightly faster. Not so fast that I have to run, but enough that I have to pick up pace a little bit. Due to the bright front lights of the tractor, I can't see the driver, so I just keep on walking. I assume the tractor is going to continue moving forward, not wanting to inconvenience the driver. I decide to cross the street again, walking past a closed cafe. The layout is such that it would be a bit difficult for any large vehicle to maneuver through, so I think I can continue my walk in pace. No, the tractor continues to follow me, the driver giving zero fucks about the difficulty maneuvering. Getting slightly alarmed, I quickly walk around the closed cafe and into some back streets, thinking that I've lost them now. I keep walking, and I hear the tractor on the other side of the building I was passing. Somehow, it had gotten there before me. You've got to be kidding me, I tell myself, thinking this person is stalking me. I try to run from one building behind another, and just as I get to the building, I pull my left calf muscle. In a bit of pain, I limp through a gap between buildings too small for anything bigger than a grown person to get through. Get behind the wall and take a moment to rest my leg and catch my breath. I can clearly hear the tractor, and I see the light of the moving tractor from the gap that I just came from. I sit there for 5 minutes listening to the tractor's engine run before it finally drives away. I wait a little bit longer just in case before continuing to the mall, still limping a bit, but not as bad as before. I've been sitting here for about 20 minutes or so, now typing this down, and from inside the mall I can still see the tractor driving around. I have no idea if I'm just imagining things, if this person is just some idiot and was bored and thought following me around would be funny, or if they're just up to something bad. All I know is I have a pulled calf muscle because of this thing. So this happened a few months ago. This guy started showing up at my favorite coffee shop. At first, he seemed really nice. We had a few casual conversations, but it was clear he was interested in more than just being friends. He asked me out a couple of times, and each time I politely declined. I even mentioned that I have a girlfriend, hoping that he'd get the hint. My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years, and we're really happy. I really was hoping that he would respect that, but instead things turned for the worse. After I rejected him for the third time, I started noticing him everywhere. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence. Maybe that he just liked the same places that I do. But when it got weird, he'd be at the grocery store where I was shopping, at the park with my girlfriend when I was talking with her, and taking a walk with her. He would even be outside my apartment building. I tried to brush it off as just paranoia. A few weeks ago, my girlfriend and I were at the park. It was a beautiful day. We were just enjoying each other's company. I saw the same guy in the distance, and my heart had sank. I tried to just ignore him. That night, I got a message on Instagram from an obviously fake account. It was a video of us at the park, with a message said something creepy like, "Cute couple. Shame one of you is with the wrong person." We were both freaked out about this. I reported the account and I blocked it, but videos kept on coming. Different accounts, different angles. Since then, I've stopped going out as much, and when I do, I always feel like I'm being watched. My girlfriend tries to be strong for the both of us, but I can tell she's scared too. We've talked about moving or calling the police, but we were both unsure about this.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.